ACPS, it's your host Zoe Prandy. Join me this month to celebrate Black History Month. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you guys soon on Teen Talk. Hey there ACPS, it's your host Zoe Prandy and welcome to Teen Talk. This is a show for students, and today's episode is all about celebrating Black History Month. We're going to highlight Black student unions and outstanding students across the county. In the studio today, I am joined with Black Student Union executives Akil Leggett and Larry Reese from Annapolis High School here to share some valuable insights about their school's BSU and ways for you to get involved this Black History Month. Thank you for joining me. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me today.
Yes,
Glad to be here.
course.
Thank you for having us.
So, for our viewers who don't know, what are Black Student Unions?
So Black student unions are something that's new to Annapolis High School. We originally were the Black History Club that was founded, I think in 2016. But as we kind of, got new leadership, we decided that we wanted to unionize. So we decided to form the Black Student Union. And the thought process behind that was just creating a safe place for African Americans at Annapolis High School to kind of come, let their guard down and just kind of socialize, amongst their, counterparts, African American counterparts.
I love that. I definitely relate to my school. We just started our first Black Student Union maybe like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So, yes, but I love the history behind it with the whole Black History Month. So can you kind of tell me what both of your roles are as executives in BSU?
Yeah, so I am the programming director. So I'm in charge of Black History Month planning for that. Me along with the two other programming directors. So we're in charge of the committees that we have for Black History Month, getting the speakers in order, as well as Akil and everybody else who's a part of the executive team. And we also help with planning our meetings for every single week.
Love that. How about you?
I'm the president of the Black Student Union, and I just love seeing, when we have Black students that just have the drive and are just willing to, not necessarily saying that it's like an additional class, but are willing to do the research, willing to put together PowerPoints, Google slide presentations, Google Forms. The things that we cover at Annapolis High School with the Black Student Union, we all should be on the payroll, I think, for the amount of stuff that we do. And it's really all just for the good of the community. It just feels good to where we kind of can sit back and reminisce on what we did last year. And we're having a hard time trying to see if we can top what we did last year, which is our first school-wide, full-on Black History Month celebration. So, I'm just really excited.
Yes, love that. I will tell you that Annapolis High School BSU has a very good reputation just from what I've heard, and I go here at Crofton. You guys are on top of it. So kind of piggyback off that, how has BSU really helped create an inclusive and welcoming environment for the Black students at Annapolis?
Yeah, so I'd say our weekly meetings are very open about what we talk about. We let students vent about their problems being Black in Annapolis, because a lot of times you don't have a place to really express how you feel as a Black student in particular. So you can talk about either you being the only Black kid in your class, which happens a lot, or how you're just being discriminated against in class, or even just in pop culture, talk about pop culture events, whether it be music artists, fashion, political events that happened. It's just a nice way to express yourself as a Black student.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I know at my school we had floor culture moment, and it was just kind of as well, while we did talk about the hard parts, also kind of a pop culture, just
Exactly.
kind of to connect.
Yeah.
So what impact do you think BSU, besides Black students, has just had on your school as a whole?
So I would just say, it's no shocker that we've have had a lot of violence in the Annapolis community that has directly affected, the high school. And, the Black Student Union basically has teamed up with, the county, local government, the equity office here, along with our Pathways to Peace program, which was mainly sponsored by Miss Mueller at Annapolis High School, Pathways to Peace. And basically, it's just filling the gap, filling the void of, losing students, teachers losing students, friends are losing, their best friends, community members are losing, young people that they help raise. So that's just, a lot of the big part that the Black Student Union has taken on for this year is basically, stopping the violence, conversations about peace. And most importantly was the Soul Box project that, Miss Mueller and her team with the Pathways to Peace put together, which was an amazing tribute to basically understanding that gun violence affects all of us. Whether you may not live in the community, but because you're a Annapolis High School Panther, when the panther unfortunately dies of tragedy, it affects all of us, whether we realize it or not. So that's just kind of what we embody as the Black Student Union, is kind of being there, being the face, and just ensuring that, Black students in particular, but all students, are grieving properly, and if they need any support, that we're just basically here to help.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I think we're just like a positive people of change. We're trying to portray the black community at our school in a positive light and not being negative, because you can see many times we're portrayed as being negative, especially being a school as a whole. We're seen as a negative school sometimes, and I think we're really trying to change that and make a positive light in Annapolis.
Yes, I love that. I feel like it really makes that, like, the black students are heard at your school. So I love all the initiatives you guys have. So, like, what does Black Student Union mean to you? I know you kind of talked about, all the things you've done, but, like, at its core, what does it mean to you, and what impact do you think you're having on your community?
To me, I think it just means feeling safe,
Mhm.
feeling heard, feeling welcomed, feeling like you're valued in a space around other people who look like you. Sometimes students don't feel like they're seen at all, even being around people who look like them. So I think that we put an emphasis on students really feeling at home.
Mhm.
That's a big thing for us, making every student feel welcome who comes into the club.
Yeah.
I was about to say, when, again, just piggybacking off of that, this is really our second year as a union. We were the Black History Club, so a black group has always existed. But the biggest thing when we were, reorganizing, which is now the Black Student Union, we all decided to create the tagline, "We are more than a club, we are a community."
Mhm.
And I mean, that itself just really embodies what Black Student Union means to me. Like Larry said, it's a safe place, it's inclusion, and it really just feels like a family. It's an extended family. And, it's something that I know, me personally, I look forward to it, every Wednesday. And I know a lot of other people look forward to it every Wednesday. It was Friday, now it's Wednesday, but it was always something that you were looking forward to each week. Um, yeah, so I consider it like an additional family.
Yes, I definitely agree. For me too, I would look forward to going to BSU during the week as well, because it is kind of like that other community. Because I don't even know like how school would be like for me without it. Because I think back to middle school where none of that really existed,
Yeah.
and you just feel like really isolated. But I definitely love like the whole community values, and even like I know for Crofton we've even partnered with like Roaming Roosters and like other like or trying like other black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
So I like the community outreach aspect.
hmm
So since it is Black History Month, or it's approaching, what does it mean to you and to BSU?
Well, I think what Black History Month means to BSU is a month of empowerment, a month of showcasing our culture in a positive light through whether it be our speaker series we're going to be having soon or our Black Expo, which we're going to talk about more. Just supporting one another as Black students, not just in the school, but in the community as a whole.
I would just say, uplifting, with the theme this year of being, Black, artistic expression. We've adopted an Annapolis High School course like Express Yourself. Artistic expressions of Black excellence is, our tagline for this month. But mainly it's getting away from streams, like what the media says, not knocking, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., but this year we want to empower people like, Alvin Ailey or Fannie Lou Hamer or Garrett Morgan or, Ella Baker, people who, their voice was their artistic expression, or their dance was artistic expression, or, their political activism was their artistic expression. And this is really what we want to uplift, keeping, the faces of Black History Month, but also, telling the stories of the unsung Black historical figures is really what I want, the Black Student Union to focus on this year, as our theme is, artistic expressions through Black excellence.
Yes, I love all of that. I can even relate to like at my school as well with the announcements. There, I would say we tried to include more people, because I would say
Mhm.
before BSU started, it was kind of the same people, but it wasn't until I think we got involved. It was
Right.
like we want to highlight more people. But I love all that you guys are doing for Annapolis BSU, just to really like, I would say like empower your Black students there. So what plans do you guys have for Black History Month, and how can the community get involved?
I would say that, we have planned, well, should I say Larry and his team has planned a spectacular Black History Month. We have a ton of speakers who we are fingers crossed trying to secure. I don't want to name any names because I don't want to upset anybody. But we have a full agenda. But the main thing I want to point out is because our focus is on conversations to be of peace and it's getting the community involved, is that we are having our expo on February 15th at Annapolis High School. The time is still being worked out, so you, of course, stay tuned to our Instagram, annapolis.bsu on Instagram. And, we're just here just to showcase Black excellence. Like Larry was saying, Annapolis High School has a bad reputation, and it's going to be our job to fix that. It starts with us, and once other groups kind of join the bandwagon, we're going to flip things around for Annapolis High.
I say to get the community involved, come out to our events. You really we want you guys to come and experience A High BSU for yourself. So we really recommend, like last year we had people from the community come out to our expo last year, and it was really great to see how they felt about it and their experience with it. So I'd say come out this year again to our BSU expo and just really enjoy yourself.
Yes, love that. And one last question I have for you guys. What do you want people to take away from hearing about your interview, just about Annapolis High School, Black History Month, and like Black student unions in general?
I'd say be proud of yourself.
Hmm.
Don't let anyone knock yourself down or your people down. Stand up. Make your own organization for yourself, your own union for your people, just so you can be proud. And never let anyone dull your light, as well as being a Black person or any person of color, any minority group at all.
My favorite quote, and it may be cliche, but is be the change you wish to see in the world. And, that's kind of what we embodied as, the executive team last year of rebranding the Black Student Union. And that's prevalent today. Take away that, we saw a need at our school to have a union-based group for African Americans at our school. We saw it, and we implemented the change. And that's just what I want people to take away, is that you too can have a Black student union at your high school. If you need help, call us at Annapolis. We'll be willing to help. And I just think that this is a blueprint for the county. It's a blueprint for the state. And I believe that every school, especially in AACPS, deserves to have a Black student union at their school. So that's my takeaway I want people to get from it.
Yes, I definitely agree with everything you guys said. Thank you guys so much for just talking to me today and just
Of course.
sharing your insight. So I want to thank Akil and Larry for taking the time to talk with me today about Annapolis High School's Black Student Union and its significant impact on the school community. When we return, we are going to hear from Brenton Mead, president of the Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils. Welcome back. I am honored to have Brenton Mead in the Teen Talk studio today. As president of the Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils, he's going to share some insightful information about his role and the impact it has on the AACPS student body. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So, for our viewers who don't know, what is the Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils, or also known as CRASC?
Yeah, I know it can be a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, CRASC is the Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils, like you said, and we represent the students of AACPS to the Board of Education, County Council, the legislature, any type of body that needs the student perspective. We try and amplify the student voice wherever we can.
Love that. So, like, as president, what is your role?
So my role is to be the official spokesperson for the group. I do my best to take the pulse of the students of AACPS when the moment demands it, and then I use that to testify to different agencies as necessary. But my primary responsibility, my day-to-day responsibility, is managing our team of 31 student leaders from across the county who manage different aspects of what we do. So we have a legislative team, an education team, and I make sure that they have the support that they need to do everything that they want to do.
Oh, wow. That's definitely a lot. So, just got like another question. What does your day-to-day look like as CRASC president? Is it like a handful every day, or is it kind of different?
It can be a little bit of a handful depending on the day. So on a typical CRASC meeting day, I have school. I get home, I do my calculus homework. Sometimes if I'm on the bus, I do it there. Then I come home, check my email, and then I get ready for the CRASC meeting, check my notes, the agenda, or, correspond with any people I need to, and then we hop into the meeting and get into the business.
Yes, love that. Love how dedicated you are.
Thank you.
So, I know you had talked about how sometimes, you testify and do a lot of different things. So, how does, CRASC really promote and support diversity within it?
So CRASC is supposed to be, at its core, the hub for all different kinds of student leaders. So what we try and do is at the very beginning of the year, after we elect our officers, we do our appointed staff process where we put out applications for every secondary student in the county, middle or high school. And then when we get the applications back, we select a team of diverse leaders. We look at the different things they've been involved in. We look at school. We sometimes depending on whether we know the person, we look at their diversity or what aspects or perspectives they can bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, we bring our team together. We establish what we want to do for the year. And then we make sure we consistently tap into that group of students to see what their perspectives are. And we also have town hall meetings where we allow students from across the county to address their concerns, whether they're specific group related, school related, or county related. We try and make sure that whatever their concerns are, that they're addressed, and we get them help for if it's an issue that we think can be resolved at the county level or at the school level.
I love that. I definitely get that. It's kind of like to build off of that. How do you advocate? I know you talked about the different problems, at the board or state level. How do you really advocate more for Black students or make sure their needs are effectively addressed? If it's it could be either a personal or maybe a group problem within the school system. How do you effectively address it?
That's a great question. So I've tried throughout my work in CRASC and throughout my work in Let's Talk Justice, a student group also within the county, to try and promote the voices of Black students across the county. I've had the opportunity to revise our social studies curriculum to see if there are any ways that we can increase the perspectives that are told of different stories. Because oftentimes, sometimes our textbooks look at one side of history and they don't consider all people's perspectives. So when I was able to, look at that curriculum, it really, I really felt I was making a difference because I was having a tangible impact on potentially what Black and brown students thought of themselves in the classroom. And then another opportunity I had was to serve on one of the school system's novel review committee, where I was able to read several different novels and give input on, whether they would be beneficial to, the student body. My involvement came because I complained about the way one book was being taught in my classroom because I noticed that some people were drawing negative stereotypes about people of color, from specifically Black people, from the book, from the dialogue and stuff that was occurring in the book. So after I voiced my concerns about that, I was asked to be on that committee, and I got to read a variety of different stories from several different authors from various different perspectives.
I did not know that you actually were involved with changing the history curriculum. I even know I think the county is starting to pilot the AP African American history
Right.
class. So all the points you made, they really touched me with just making sure we see the full story. I think that's something we already see now where history is trying to be wiped away. So I like the efforts that CRASC is making to make sure students are getting the full truth.
Thank you. And sometimes we have to be proactive in seeing what potential threats could be out there. So we were, for example, I was personally monitoring how the AP African American Studies course approval was going to go because I saw in some other states and some other jurisdictions there were issues or people were raising the fact that certain aspects of what they called critical race theory were included in that curriculum.
Yeah. So with all that you have done to just make, I would just say, such a positive change in our curriculum and just in this county, what influence do you want your role as president to really have over AACPS students?
I want people to, when they look at the role that I have, I want them to see that they can be the best leader that they can be, in themselves. For example, I'm very much an introvert. I'm not, even though I have a forward-facing position where I have to interact with different people and speak publicly, I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
But I've learned to become, secure in what my values are, and then I've used that to, take me or to elevate my advocacy, whether that's speaking before the board or writing written testimony. I think that other student leaders, I hope when they see what I've accomplished, I hope they can see that, that's something they can accomplish too if they put their mind to it and they know or that they're secure in what their approach is going to be.
Yes, I so agree with that. I feel like really just seeing, people of colors, but you as yourself, as being president, even other people in different roles. I think especially for like younger kids or maybe middle schoolers who are just starting to learn about student leadership, it makes them feel that they can also do it too.
So
So as we are approaching Black History Month, what does this mean to you, and your leadership in this position to be making change?
it means so much to me. I think Black History Month is a time to reflect on how far our ancestors have come. Um, you know, especially in the realm of education, and how not so long ago, schools were segregated. I know that, for example, I know my great grandfather. He used to go to Bates High School, the only black high school, and regardless of where you lived in the county, from as far south to far north, that was a school that you went to. And so reflecting on that history and being grateful for the people who we stand on the shoulders of is something that I think Black History Month reminds us to do. And it also, I think, reminds us to reflect on, whether we are worthy of the legacy that they have left for us. Those who have integrated schools, those who have protested in the streets. We have to ask ourselves, are we living up to what, they've laid out for us?
Yes, I love your insight so much. I think it even also makes me reflect of like the history in Anne Arundel County and the history that's being, made now, even if it's like at the board level, or even with schools, just making more strides towards what was being fought for, 60 years ago and the fight that's still going on now.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of, different attacks from we're seeing a lot of attacks on diversity in education specifically. So I'm hopeful that this month we can reflect on the contributions that specifically Black people have made to the United States, but that we also remind ourselves that we should be proud of how far we've come, and that we still have work left to do.
Hmm. So, my last question is, in what ways can, students, but specifically like students of color, get involved in CRASC and, feel that they have like a place in just student leadership? Like, what advice would you give?
I would say, honestly, I would say start at your school level,
Hmm.
because your school has, so many different communities that you can get involved in. And then if there isn't a community for you, or you feel like, there's not a club specifically that meets your interests, I would start your own club. Like, I'm working now with students at Broadneck High School to create a Black Student Union
Oh,
so that we
wow.
elevate the voices of our Black students. So if, for any student out there, I hope that they realize that as long as they can find a mentor or a teacher who
Hmm.
believes in them and what they're doing, that they can create a community for them and others around them who might not be represented. And then for any student who wants to get involved in CRASC, we're about to start our student member of the board elections. So that's an opportunity that students can get involved in by talking to their SGA advisor.
Yes, love that. And I just so agree with like just taking like a stance and just I would say, doing whatever is necessary. Even for my school, I would say just starting off with like a BSU, it's just finding the advisors and not giving up, just keep pushing. And same with, CRASC, I feel like it's definitely become more available for students, even in my school, just hearing about it. So I definitely agree with like just going after the opportunity and just trying as much as we can to get involved.
And one other piece of advice: look at Instagram. There are a lot of
Yeah.
there are a lot of different
Mm.
clubs. Like, I've watched what Crofton's BSU does. Arundel High School has this awesome social media page. So
Mhm.
I would say, feel free to emulate what other student leaders are doing and take ideas from them, and then make them your own, or make them what's comfortable for you.
Yes, I still agree with that. I love, just chatting with you and like all of your insights. And thank you so much for all that you've done as class president. You know, not just for students of color, but for all students to make sure, that education, is as truthful as we can, have it and just fighting on behalf of us for us who can't be, in the rooms at the state level.
Thank you so much. It was really great talking with you.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank Breton for taking the time to talk with me today about CRASC, student leadership, and ways for you to get involved. Next, we'll be hearing from Black Student Union members across the county as they share what Black History Month and BSU means to them. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I am joined with some Black Student Union members here to talk about their BSUs and the importance of Black History Month to them. So, can everyone state their name, their grade, and what school they go to?
Hi, my name's London. I'm in 10th grade and I go to Crofton High School. Yeah, sure. So I'm Brian Yankee. I'm a 12th grader and I go to Glen Burnie High School.
Hi, my name is Kenji Brown. I'm in 10th grade and I go to Southern High School.
So can you guys kind of tell me about the BSUs at your school? What sets them apart from other BSUs in AACPS?
I think the sense of community that RBSU has is what sets it apart, and also the amount of involvement that you have within your school and your community. Like the more involvement that you have, the more people know about you, the more people will respect you. But
We are very diverse. There's not just African American people. There's not just Hispanic. Like there's a whole bunch of people in our group, and that we're also really big on reaching out to the community. And the fact that we raise a lot of money. We try to funnel out at least one fundraiser a month.
So I think one thing that we do try to focus on is not only with community service, but also just inclusivity with our own group. We try to build bonds and try to make everyone that's in our BSU close with each other and not try to separate anyone else or close anyone else.
Okay, amazing. I love how you guys talked about, diversity and the different contributions. Can you guys kind of talk about what contributions you have made to your BSU?
Sure. So, for example, we have community events. We've helped our governor and multiple people in their national exam board that they had earlier in last year winter, and it was a great experience. We got to learn and teach about the systems that are in power, especially with like the judicial system in Maryland.
so I helped make the logo for RBSU, and then as well as helping make announcements for Black History Month. But I think even just showing up to the meetings whenever they happen is just a contribution, because just taking the time out of your day to say, oh, I care about this, and going to support the group, I feel like that's also a big contribution.
Yes, I am the former treasurer of our Black Student Union group, and I help run the panels, and I used to help fundraise and find fundraisers and find interesting fundraisers that people would be interested in, and would bring out a lot of people instead of doing like Chick-fil-A and Chipotle and George Colby's. We try to find like fun, passive income type fundraisers so that we don't have to keep funneling families.
I'm at Crofton High School. I'm the vice president of our BSU, so I definitely can relate to like a lot of the drive you guys have, a lot of just taking the step to even be there and just really, I feel like helping foster the community, which is something I really appreciate for BSU. So, kind of to go off of this, with all the contributions you've made, what really makes BSU special to you? Why do you take the time out of your day to attend club meetings and go the distance to organize events?
So I think that in schools where the setting is not as diverse, having a Black Student Union is just helpful to find people that connect with you, not as like a therapy group, but just someone that connects with you, so that you can see, oh, so this is my experience with this, and then you can exchange with other people just to see how your experiences relate to others and what you can do to make it better and whatnot. Any biases or prejudices that you might see, to see if it's like everybody that has this problem, see how you can combat things to make the school better.
So for me, I feel like BSU is so important because it kind of invites everyone to become more inclusive with one another, and the in America or in just in society, a lot of times people or Black people of just different backgrounds can't come together and be as unified. And I feel like having a student union or a Black student union where it's not just like Black people, just people together, come together and be able to hang out and not have any prejudice towards one another is slowly building a better community where even in the future when we have problems, we can still come together and be one.
I think it's because it helps bring inclusivity, and it also helps Black people when they're trying to bring their productivity to the group and try to be productive. as a black student in that school, in that group. And I also think it's important to join because it's just a good environment to always be.
I love just how you guys really talked about the inclusiveness with black students and even students who aren't black. I feel like at our BSU we've been very, also I would say very welcoming, just and really open to diversity. So another question I kind of have is like, how do you think your BSU really has just changed your school community, and what more do you see in the future for your BSU? What do you want, your advisor to do? What do you want to fight for? What change do you want to see?
It impacts the community because it not only does it bring people out, it also shows that there are black people supporting black people, and there are just people supporting black people and just people in general. And I also like to see more fundraising, definitely, because or a sport or a booster. We don't really have a booster for our group. So like our booster and more advertisement. There isn't really a lot of advertisement here. So we're planning on doing things of that nature and plan on doing that period.
I think it would be good to have more, just like if you go to a meeting and say you want to do something, just making sure that you follow through and do it. So it's not just like, oh, I have an idea of doing something, but just waiting and saying, oh, we're going to do this eventually, we're going to do it eventually, and then just never end up doing it. Like, I know an example for ours was that people wanted to start like a step team or a majorette team, but nobody really, it's like been in the process. It would just be hard to like get it, but just that was just an example. So just like if you're like, oh, I plan on doing this, I plan on doing that, just making sure that you really follow through with it and don't just leave it as an idea, because eventually it has to be put into action.
For me, I feel like the answer for both of those questions is really just community. When we first started the BSC, we had a lot of people coming in and participating and doing events and stuff, which we love to see. But with how big our school is, I do know that we could definitely bring in more faces every day. And that's something that I try to strive towards because I feel like the bigger community we have, the more impact we can have on our school and just the Anne Arundel community in
I
general.
definitely agree, and I love all of your answers. I think community is definitely like a big thing, and I think just taking really just a step, honestly, just to come to BSU, I just think that's really been what has helped. There's been some people that at first weren't really into it, but once they came, I feel like it just helped change their mindset and just kind of, I think, their perspective in general. So, as we are approaching Black History Month, what does Black History Month mean to you? And we can start with Brian.
Black History Month, I love this question because I feel like when it comes to Black History Month, we can really appreciate all the different diasporas in the country. Like for me, I like to recognize how every part of a Black group has contributed to society and has made things grow. For example, the African American community has done a lot with pop culture, with music. You could say Caribbeans with food and Africans with dance. There's a bunch of things that Black people contribute to the world that many people don't really recognize, and I feel like Black History Month really emphasizes on that.
I agree. I think that there are a lot of misconceptions about what Black History Month is actually about, but I feel like the true meaning of it is just to look back and explore like what people did a while ago that contribute to Black culture today and that contribute to what we now have today that we might not have had back then.
Black History Month is important to me because it celebrates our achievements and it like educates and reflects our goals and it educates and reflects what people or what black people really went through and what we're still going through and how we can come over it. And it also promotes cultural awareness. And that's really important so that you are aware. That's really important for people in general so that when you're really aware, so that you don't like offend somebody or you don't say the wrong thing or things of that nature. So that month really shows, even as a short month, it really shows, the whole month as a whole shows how much it really means to be a person of color.
Yes, I agree completely and love all of your responses. I feel like even for me, Black History Month is just kind of a reflection of our history, but also shows just how far we come and how much more we are able to achieve. So my last question is, what are you guys looking forward to for Black History Month, and what plans do your BSUs have to celebrate? And we can start with London.
So I know for our Black Student Union, we're planning on having a Legacy Fest, which is basically a bunch of performances and just it's like a whole event just to celebrate Black history, Black culture, and all
For
of
our
that.
group, we do have some things planned. We do have a spirit week just to highlight some of achievements that Black people have had through the years. We also plan on just stating general facts and creating content on Black History Month from the different diasporas, and just overall want to show appreciation to the past and present and future of Black people and the Black communities that we have around us.
Our BSU has a lot of things going on. We have our Black alumni panel for people who went to Seven High School. They can come up and speak. We have our HBCU panel, and we have our Greek panel. We have a Spirit Week during Black History Month, and I'm trying to see if we can get in the works another entrepreneur panel.
Wow, these activities all sound so great and so amazing. So everyone should definitely tune in to different schools in ACPS and see what they're doing so you can get connected this Black History Month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this lovely panel with all these different BSU members across the county. Stay tuned for all the upcoming activities month these schools are doing to celebrate Black History Month. I want to give a huge thank you to all of my guests for joining me today. We appreciated getting insights into the significant contributions of Black student unions and exceptional students across AACPS. I hope you found this episode both engaging and informative, providing a meaningful way to celebrate Black History Month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Teen Talk.